And joining us now here in studio, Elizabeth Witmer, the new chair of the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, and we should say the longest serving female MPP ever. 22 years in the Ontario Legislature. Welcome to TVO.
Thank you very much, Steve. Pleasure to be here.
Well, you did get elected last October and presumably had every intention of serving a full term at that point?
Yes, I did,
So
Steve.
what changed that made you take this appointment?
Well, first of all, let me just say I've dedicated 32 years of my life to public service, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
22 at Queen's Park, 10 on school
10
board
on
before
school
that.
board and chair. And I really have appreciated that opportunity to serve people. And I guess I would say to you that, you know, people talk about family and personal circumstances. My life had changed. There were some, you know, there was illness in my family and changes that did take place. And so when this position was offered to me, just as I entered politics and thoughtfully considered it, discussed it with my family. I did discuss it with my family at this time because we were going through a significant change. And
can you talk any more about that, or I don't want to pry, but
yeah, no, my husband had been diagnosed with cancer at that time.
Okay.
And so you know what, we decided that at this point, you know, in my life, this was a new challenge and a new opportunity that I would look forward to.
Did you apply for the job?
No.
They came to you?
Yes.
You get a call from the Premier?
Well, I will tell you, there have been people, it's strange, but people started approaching me about this position pretty well after Christmas. And I just listened, but numerous people, you know, said, you know, Elizabeth, this job is going to be available and we think that you'd be well suited. I had people from, you know, all stripes, different people approach me.
We should say you're a former Labour Minister.
Yes, I am a former Labour Minister. I'm a former Health, Education, Environment Deputy Premier. And as I say, I was chair of a school board, so I do have lots of experience and expertise.
But this is not you'll grant, this is not an ordinary appointment because, of course, the Liberals are one seat short of a de facto majority government, and the talk around Queen's Park is, with you out of the way, the Grits have got a shot at that seat. Now, did that factor into your decision at all?
Do you know what? I think everything factors into your decision, Steve. Whenever you make a change in your own personal life, I've always considered my family first and foremost, and obviously I considered my constituents. And but the truth is, you know, anything can happen in politics, and it well may. In fact, we look now, and there well could be an election called this summer. Who knows?
Bite your tongue.
Who knows?
How did Tim Hudak find out about your decision to take the job?
I phoned Tim personally.
How did he take the news?
Obviously, Tim was very surprised, and I had enjoyed a good working relationship with Tim. I had been, you know, the caucus chair, and I had been health critic, and certainly it was a surprise, and I did personally call to.
Did he try to talk you out of it?
Do you know what? I would just say to you that, you know, my decision had been made.
Did he swear at you?
No. In fact, you do know what? He congratulated me. I think he understood the circumstances. And, you know, that for me, in my life at this point in time, this was a decision that I was making.
Well, Ms. Witmer, you have been the talk of the party, I must say, as you surely know.
We need shaking up.
Well, as you surely know, progressive conservatives all over are talking about this appointment, and we had a little chat. In fact, John Mikitishyn, the former Common Sense revolutionary, was in that chair about a month ago, and when I asked him about this appointment, here's what he had to say. Roll tape, please.
I think what she did was made perfect sense for herself. Made perfect sense for the government, and I think it was a brutal, untimely, unexpected shot in the back of the neck with an ice pick to Tim Hudak.
Yikes. What do you say to that?
I would say that that's totally opposite to the number of people that have personally taken the time to email me, write me, phone me, and thank me for my contribution to public service over the past 32 years, and recognize that, you know what, obviously I had made a decision based on family, personal reasons to
You'll grant the optics look tough though, right?
Pursue a new career.
You'll grant the optics look tough?
Do you know what? Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and he is too.
Okay, you said there were a bunch of factors involved in the decision, and I wonder whether one of them was I don't think Tim Hudak can win another election, and so I'm not going to stick around and find out.
Do you know what? I actually didn't think that at all, because I do think that Tim Hudak has worked very hard since the last election in order to demonstrate to people that he honestly wants to be the Premier of this province.
And could be?
And could be.
Okay, moving right along. I want to talk a little bit about your career. You ran for the first time in 1990?
I ran in 1987 when I knew that I was going to lose.
Oh, you ran and lost in 87.
I
did. You ran and
did.
won in 90.
I did. I learned how to win in 1987 so that I could be successful next time.
Why'd you want to run in the first place?
Do you know what? I've always had a real interest in politics. My father was interested in politics, as was my brother. We used to talk about it. But it was Charles McNaughton who really influenced my decision. He was finance minister at one time. And he invited me to a rally in Stratford when I was 18 years old. When I came home, I thought, I'd like to be an MPP just like Charles McNaughton. He was a wonderful human being, treated everybody in our community the same, no matter who you were. And then I even went so far as to think, you know, I'd like to be the first female Premier of this province. And then I thought, well, no, if I was ever elected, there will have been one. Well, as you know, there hasn't been one. I did run for the leadership of our party and was not successful, but I did become Deputy Premier. So it was really Charles McNaughton who influenced my decision. And I've always, you know, had careers, whether it was teaching or now public service, and even the job I'm in is public service, where I do appreciate the opportunity to serve people.
I'm told that when you run for the leadership of your party and don't win, it takes a year to get over it. And let's be frank here, I think you came fourth, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so
yes.
it wasn't that close. I mean, you didn't really
Nope.
have a shot at it, but you ran a decent campaign.
We did, yeah.
How often do you still think back and think, geez, if I'd won that, I'd have been Premier, first female Premier ever?
Well, do you know what? I certainly reflect on it, but I would say to you that Equal Voice had a contest then in another year, and at that point in time there was a vote, and actually I was voted at that time the female they most would like to see as Premier, so I guess that was a consolation prize. Do you know what? You have to try to do what you want to do, but I wasn't that disappointed. I had great support. I will tell you, I was very pleased. We were able to raise the money that was necessary, $1.2 million, and I was one of two candidates, I think, that ended my campaign, and it was fully funded.
Do you know what I remember about that campaign?
What's that?
You telling Jim Flaherty that you thought one of his policy ideas was disgusting. That was the word you used. Do you remember that, Ms. Witmer?
I do.
You do?
I do.
You guys buried the hatchet yet?
Oh, yes, yes. In fact, you know what? I admire the job that he's done, and certainly worked with Christine as well.
You were obviously part of a government, the Common Sense Revolution, 1995, the Mike Harris years. That was pretty controversial.
Yes.
And I wonder, as you look back on that time, what was the hardest part about being in government then?
Then? Well, I think the challenges that we faced, the fact that the economy was not doing well, there were many, many people unemployed, and obviously when we were elected in '95, we had a huge job to do to turn the province around. My job was Minister of Labor, and there were some very, very difficult decisions that were made, but I will tell you at the end of it, new jobs were created, new opportunities were provided to people, and tough decisions. I went home at night oftentimes, you know what, really concerned, but I realized that, at least I'd had an opportunity to put my voice into the conversation.
You are not known to be one of the sort of small c conservative, real right-wing members of the Progressive Conservative Party. You're more of a, thought to be a red Tory. In fact, I can't help notice the color of your dress today. Is that a statement about how friendly you are with the Liberals these days, incidentally?
No, in fact, Steve, when I was first nominated for this job, I wore a red dress. And I remember the little newspaper in Elmira had an article saying, here she is, a conservative wearing a red dress to her nomination.
What is with that, exactly?
What is with that? Yeah. And I do like red, and I wear a lot of red clothes.
But were there days, given that you're a red Tory, were there days during those Mike Harris years when you thought, you know what, this is too much for me?
Do you know what? There were days when I will tell you it was very challenging, but I do believe that at the end of all that happened, I do appreciate the opportunities that Mike Harris personally gave to me. I was, labor, then I went to health, environment, education, and I do believe that, a lot of good things happen for folks.
Let's talk about your new job. You are the new chair of the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, which is thought to be one of the absolutely god-awful worst jobs in all of government. You've got a $14.2 billion unfunded liability. I mean, how do you even begin to deal with a number that big?
Sure. Well, do you know what? And I think that's one of the challenges. I do like a challenge, and I do believe I'm up to this challenge. I know what my mandate is for the next 5 years.
What is it?
That is to make sure that we achieve funding sufficiency of 60%. Eventually, it's going to be fully funded, but my goal, and also to make sure that as we move forward, we maintain a system that is fair for injured workers, but also fair to the employers who have to pay the bills.
Are benefits too generous now?
Do you know what? There's been a funding review, the Arthur's report, and you know, we're looking at premium rates, obviously. I think the big thing that we want to make sure happens is that that board operates efficiently and effectively. And I would say to you, just the couple of months that I've been there, I do believe that the new president, the senior management team, are working to make sure that injured workers are returned to work and provided with the services and everything that's needed in the most effective and efficient manner.
John Tory and Buzz Hargrove also did a report with a bit of a roadmap on how to get there.
And that's right. They were part of the Arthur's report. Mm-hmm. So I do feel very confident that this agency is on the right track.
But how long is it going to take, do you think, before the system is fully funded? I mean, I'm guessing it's 50 years down the road.
No, I think they're hoping to do that in 2027.
2027?
Yeah, or 2027, yeah.
I've seen that number, but is that a realistic
I do believe it is. I've seen the calculations. I'll tell you, I spend a lot of time in meetings related to finance, audit, investment. We just need to make sure that this board at some point in time is fully funded.
The chair of this board used to be a part-time job.
Yes.
It's a full-time job for you.
Yes, it is. Well, do you know what? It has been full-time in the past before. It was part-time for Steve Mahoney, but Steve Mahoney actually recommended that it should be a full-time job, and others have too. And I guess because of the mandate, we've had, you know, the Tony Dean report, which shifted the responsibility for prevention to the Ministry of Labor. We've now had the Arthur's report, which dealt with the whole funding issue. But I would also say to you, this board now is modernizing itself, it's transforming itself, it's introduced e-services, it's moving into the future in order to deliver better services to injured workers and to make sure that employers know that the system is funded in a way that you know, respectfully treats the dollars that they pay.
Let's come full circle just finally. I started this interview by saying that you are the longest serving female MPP ever in Ontario history. Is that a big deal to you?
Do you know, it is important. Yes, it is important. I will tell you, I just loved my job. I loved serving the constituents. I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish together, Steve, and I have to stress one more time, you do nothing in isolation. Any success that you have, it's because of other people, whether it was the civil servants I worked with or, you know, my own staff, people in my community, people in the province. I just think this is the greatest province in the world, and I just believe I have been so blessed and given an honor which I shall always cherish.
Good luck with the new gig.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Witmer, new chair, WSIB. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Support Ontario's public television. Donate at tvo.org.